Hi, beauties. Good morning. It is Tracy Fisher and Dawn Hart from Helia Wellness. We thought today we would talk about the ways that women in particular measure success. And what we see a lot of is women measuring success purely with a scale. And there's a couple of issues with that. So let's dive into that first.
Yeah, so I think that's large in part our programming and what most of us were taught, especially in diet and fashion culture. But the challenge with that application, ladies, is that women's weight specifically is prone to fluctuating between 3 to 5 pounds with something as simple as a reduction or increase in sodium, so salt in your diet, as well as carbohydrates. And when you engage in any type of physical activity, specifically weight training, which we want to be doing a lot of, right? We want to gravitate to lifting heavier things as women, especially as our bodies age and our hormones change. The challenge with that is muscle weighs more than fat. So when you go to step on a scale, you see the numbers going up instead of down, which is what most people are engaging in fitness for. So that's one of the variables.
Yeah, and I mean, further to that, back to the strength training piece, if you hop on a scale directly after a strength training session, because water is moving into those muscles, you're also going to be heavier, right? So that just shows you that it's really the scale measures our relationship with gravity.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's an inaccurate representation of what your body's doing.
Yeah. It does not tell us what we think it does, particularly for those of you who hop on there every day. You're really not getting enough time between data points for it to be telling you much of anything, right? The other issue with it, despite what it's telling you or not telling you, is that, back to your example, you hop on, you've been working really hard, working through a process, you hop on the scale, it's up, you lose your shit, right? Come on, we've all been there. You lose your shit because you think it's not working.
Yep.
Working how, right? And then, so it's not even the issue of that, it's where we go from there. So typically women from that point will go, well, F it, it's not working. I'm going to go have brunch, eat a donut.
That's right.
And then the time it takes us to move back to that process, sometimes is weeks, sometimes it's months, right? So we generally see women do better without a scale focus, understanding that it's probably a habit for many, many, many of you.
Yeah.
So even, to move towards not using it at all, we just back off of how frequently we are using it. One thing I suggest to our clients is they move the scale to the garage, because you're less likely to walk down there naked and hop on. Right?
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing with this scale is it's simply a number. Right? And what the hell do these numbers actually mean? If we break down these ideal ranges of numbers that we should or should not weigh, that's in accordance to a metric system called the BMI table. And we won't get into that rabbit hole and who designed the BMI table, but let's call it for what it is. In the best shape of my life and when I was leanest and retained the largest volume of muscle mass, according to the BMI table, I was deemed clinically obese. Right. And that was prior to competing. And you probably had a similar experience.
Same.
Right.
Yep.
So I laugh because we're still sweating from our workout on this. So it's really not nerves, lady. We just finished the workout. Anyways, I think these numbers are a bit ridiculous and we put far too much stock in them. I think if we're really honest with ourselves, a great way to measure our success and whether or not we're heading in the correct direction is the tight pant test. Right? So pick your favorite pair of tight pants, not an array of size 8s, 12s, and so forth, because we know that the design world has changed that sizing system quite a bit. But the tight pant test is a brilliant way to measure whether or not you're heading in the right direction. Right?
Yeah.
We're not putting muscle mass on in copious amounts in our midsection.
No.
Usually that's adipose tissue.
Yeah. And I think we also need to, when we talk about moving in the right direction, what does that mean, right? Moving in the right direction does not mean having a number go down on a scale. Again, that's not telling us anything.
Yeah.
Moving in the right direction is, we are stronger in the gym. We are more frequently in the gym. There's a lot of different metrics that we can use beside the scale, or as well as that are going to garner us far more actual information. So let's kind of dive into that. So what are some of the things that we can do, apart from using the scale as the measure?
Yeah, so I think one that really resonates with a lot of women is measuring your energy levels.
Mm.
A lot of the women we work with wake up
Yep.
exhausted,
Yep.
and they particularly crash around 2 to 4 in the afternoon. Right. So if you just measure your energy, granted it's tough to, quantify that, but your body best. And if you find that you no longer need that afternoon nap and you feel somewhat more refreshed
Mhm.
upon waking, that's a great measure
Yep.
of vitality, and that your biochemistry, so your internal health, is actually changing for the better. And that translates typically to weight loss seamlessly.
Yeah.
Because your body no longer feels the need to hold on to weight because it's not in the same stress state it was
Yeah.
previously.
Absolutely.
So energy is a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also, and this will garner that, but we also talk a lot about sleep. So sleep quality and quantity, right? So are you sleeping well? And how long are you sleeping? Are you potentially getting an hour more sleep because you've adjusted your sleep schedule? Do you feel like your sleep is of a better quality than it was? Because those things change everything
Yep.
for women.
Yeah. Yeah. When we're sleeping well, we're typically, rocking
doing a
life
lot of
that
things
much
well.
better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I would say between the tight pant tests and energy, those are kind of the two I really shine a light on. I
Yep.
guess in addition to sleep. What else?
Yeah,
do you
I mean,
typically chat
one
about?
is, blood pressure.
Mhm.
Like, and I'm not talking about measuring this daily or weekly because that's not going to tell you much, but and if you're kind of on a journey, one of the things that you can measure at the beginning of that journey is blood pressure, because as we sleep better, stress less, lose body fat, hit the gym, blood pressure is going to change, and it's one of the strong markers for metabolic disease. So just take it and then take it 6 months later and see whether it's lowered or not. That's a great measure for health and longevity.
Yeah, and I'll chime in there. So a lot of the ways I work with clients and we measure their long-term success is, in the interest of self-care, is getting them to book in with their family physician and getting all the necessary blood labs
Mhm.
done at the beginning of the year. And to Tracy's point, you wait 6 months or 12 months based on the relationship you have with your doctor and your existing health profile, and get those same markers done a year later. And it's absolutely remarkable how resilient the body is and its capacity to change for the better. And your weight goes along with that typically, when we're prioritizing self-care and all the lifestyle pillars that we talk about so often in our Revive 5 roadmap.
And why that can be a better measure than weight is because of that time frame. You're giving yourself 6 months or a year to make change. You're not thinking it's going to happen in 24 hours, in a month, or in 2 months. Because let's face it, we all want the quick fix. We are here to tell you again, it does not exist. We are in this for the long haul. So we need to settle into processes instead of goals.
Yeah.
So those are just a few ways that there's many more. Those are just a few ways that would be more beneficial than really focusing on the scale as a key metric, because honestly, it's not.
No,
it's not.
No.
So reach out to us if you have any questions, if you want ideas as to other measures. We also are almost done our Holiday Thrive guide. And what that is some tips and tricks for you ladies as you navigate the holiday season, because we know we're already hearing about it.
Yep.
We know it's such a challenging time, right? Yep. So we want to support you in that time frame, because what we think of as Christmas is one day is actually a month or 6 weeks, right? We're starting to see all of those holiday foods already just walk into chapters.
Yep.
Peppermint bark is here, people. Peppermint bark is here.
Yeah.
So we will be releasing that next week. So make sure you get your hand on the link so you can get a copy of that. We hope you have a fabulous day, ladies, and we will chat with you later.
Bye, beauties.
Bye.